Okay. All right. We can do this now.
She said bottom left screen.
You guys, thank you so much for hanging in there with me. That was challenging. So, welcome to the Art of Accomplishment. Finding where I'm.
You might want to mute everyone first.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Mute all.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right, let's get to it. Close your eyes. Home, say, safanata. Home, say, safanata. Ooh, ooh, hey. Safe come second. Safe come second. Safe no. For say, Satan come second, hey, for no day. Hey, for no day. Come for day. He come for day. Come for day. He come for day. Hey, for no day. Hey, for no day. For Sun, Tien, Kenu, home, for Sun, Tien, Kenu, Nyam 48, Nyam 48, home for Sun, Tien, Kin, Good afternoon, Mark and Gail and Pamela and Keith and Louise and Frank and Elaine and Bill. Good to see all of you. Thanks for hanging in there with those technical difficulties. So the art of accomplishment. It's an important art to understand, isn't it? Because life feels rather annoying to you guys if you don't have a sense of accomplishment, doesn't it? Yeah. So one of the first things that we want to speak about in regard to accomplishment is consistency. Because what we notice is that humans are really great at having ideas and really wonderful with following through with their ideas for a short period of time, but not following through for a long period of time. And usually that's because you guys are impatient. And patience, if you can cultivate it, will bring to you all kinds of wonderful things. Consistency and patience will yield incredible results for you. And we want you to start thinking about life as if you were going to live at least 1,000 years. And if you understood that anything great took many, many years to cultivate. If you were in the mindset of I'm going to live 1,000 years, then would spending 10 years being consistent with something seem like very much? Or would it seem like a little bit? It would seem like a little bit. And the brilliance of this is that for the most part, anything that you can be consistent with for 10 years, you will experience profound results with, which in our opinion isn't that long. 10 years isn't that long. But most humans are very caught up in the aging process. I'm getting old, I'm getting older. This is gonna end for me. This opportunity is gonna be done. I'm gonna be too old by then. And it keeps you guys in a constant state of rush. And you would think, well, that's only happening for people that are a little bit older, but that's not true, in fact. It's happening for people of all ages. You guys make very rash decisions about all kinds of things because you perceive yourself as running out of time. And you never truly cultivate deep patience because of this mindset. And when you don't cultivate deep patience, then you don't cultivate deep tolerance. Because patience and tolerance go hand in hand. And if you were viewing the world from, I'm going to live 1,000 years, you wouldn't always be feeling like I'm going to run out of time. You would be more patient in regard to other human beings and the mistakes that they're making. You would view age differently. You would think, oh, that person's 50 or that person's 60. They're still a baby. They're still so young. They've still got time. They're gonna figure that out. Can you guys start to feel what we're talking about? It makes kind of a settled place in your heart, doesn't it? And now imagine if you were just using that mindset regarding anything in life that you wanted to accomplish. Can you feel the calm that it brings you? And so you would start to look at things as, I'm going to learn. In the first 5 years, I'm going to learn so much about what to do and what not to do. In fact, I'm going to consider that the first 5 years of anything is me just learning how to be consistent and me being an observing place regarding trial and error. And I'm going to use those first 5 years to tweak things, to consistently tweak things. But I'm going to find my places of consistency, and I'm going to take note of what is occurring within those first 5 years. So imagine that. Think of some things that you've wanted to achieve in your life, and honestly ask yourself, did I spend 5 solid years being very consistent? Did I spend 5 solid years really observing what worked and what didn't work? And we already know the answer. The answer is no. No, you guys don't do that. Because if you did, you would have more understanding about how this works. But consider a child. A child, by the time they reach the year of 5, the egoic self has started to set in, started to understand and record memory about their life, starting to really form that personality and what direction they're going to take with that. And why is that occurring? That's occurring because over the period of those first 5 years, a child is doing exactly what we're speaking about, just naturally. And a child is not in any rush. They're not in the mindset of thinking, oh, I'm getting old. I'm going to run out of things to play with. I'm going to run out of creative ideas, right? So they spend those first 5 years really, really cultivating all kinds of things. And by the time they hit that 5-year mark, they've grown tremendously. That's partially because that's what happens as a human being, but the other component of that is that they've got that fresh mindset and that they're most interested in growth, and they're most interested in creativity, and they're most interested in exploration. And in order to achieve great accomplishment, that is exactly what an adult mindset needs to be. It needs to be all about the exploration. It needs to be all about figuring out the little quirks. It needs to be all about consistency and the interest in growth. Okay? None of it needs to be about what am I getting back from this right now. That shouldn't even be a part of the mindset within the first 5 years. Okay? You will get things out of it in those 5 years to which you can add to your list of things that worked and things that didn't work. But as far as it being the predominant part of the mindset, that's unwise. So does this make sense to you guys? So now, the next obvious thing is that if you truly take on this mindset, if you say, okay, Geschichte, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. What is the next thing you're going to think? You're going to think, well, I better pick something I really like. I better pick something I like. Because if I'm going to be consistent and really invest myself for 5 solid years, then I better like it. Right? And if money is not on the table, then the only thing you're going to be interested in is if you enjoy it. And this is really the wise way to approach life and accomplishment. It's not to think about the money. And this is why anything you're consistent with, that you enjoy, that is meant to make money, will make money. But it won't make money if you're not consistent and if you don't enjoy it. Maybe you have one of those factors. Many people are consistent and they don't enjoy it and they make money, right? But if you're really wanting the entire experience, this is how you get it. And then once you get past those 5 years, then you better know what you want to focus on past that. What parts of it you want to grow. What parts of it you want to discontinue. But by that time, you're already in the habit of consistency, okay? And so you add on another 5 years, and you've got 10 years of consistent interaction, consistent investment, and 10 years of enjoyment. Meaning that now you know this craft. Now you know what you're doing. You really know what you're doing. Now you have confidence, a lot of confidence. Now you talk about it easily. It just rolls off of your tongue. Now you have great expectations about what the next 10 years will bring. And you have a foundation laid that will allow you to add in new things if you want. Yes? Do you see what we're saying? And so, what does it feel like to imagine that? What does it feel like to imagine going about your passions in this way? Or going about your, quote, dreams in this way? Does it make you feel like it's more possible? We'd love for one of you to talk if you want. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
I think as I'm listening to this now, what's coming up for me is, what do you do when you lose that passion? Like when you hit that wall that says, I just can't go on. And then you find something else and you get distracted by that and you move in a different direction. It's so hard to get back to where you originally were and to find that original passion. So that's...
Well, most likely, if you start with something that you feel genuinely passionate about, it's going to evolve into something that you still feel passionate about, if you're consistent with it. It is usually only within the mindset that it can't evolve or change that you guys become really bored or you become disenchanted. Do you understand what we're saying? If you allow things to evolve, in fact, if you invite them to evolve, then the disenchantment really isn't there. But if you do that for 5 years and then you decide, you know what, I just don't want to do this anymore, you will still have accumulated some very important skills within those 5 years that you can apply to anything else. Because in general, everything that you guys want to accomplish, you have similar tools for all of those things. Okay? And you might not really think about things in that way, but for the most part, when you guys are thinking about accomplishment, you're often thinking about money, or you're thinking about health. Those are the two main things that are really in the realm of the word accomplishment. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah. So in those two realms of money or wealth and health, you have similar tools. So even within those first 5 years of perhaps your first passion, you might evolve into what's the next phase of that passion through your consistency and figuring out these were the things that worked and these were the things that didn't work. Do you see what we're saying? So in fact, the evolution is just a part of it. It is only when you guys are locked in and rigid that there is no part for the evolution, and whatever that thing was fizzles. Okay? But then there will be times where perhaps you spend a lot of time. We'll use Angel as an example. She used to spend all of her time painting and making artwork. And although she's not doing that much anymore, there were other tools that she used within that entire venture, writing, reaching out to galleries, reaching out to magazines, building websites on the computer. There was a lot that went into all of that that still transfers into this. Okay? And the reason she's able to do a lot of the things that she's able to do now with more ease is because she spent all of that time practicing there. And it's not like it's lost. The art isn't lost. It's not gone forever. It still exists. It was still worthwhile. But she has allowed her life to evolve into something else. Do you see what we're saying? And if you ask her, do you feel like you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish with your art? She would say yes and no. I accomplished really learning how to create great works of art. I accomplished understanding multiple mediums and achieving mastery levels within them. The only thing I did not accomplish that I would have liked to, we're speaking on her behalf, is I would have liked to have made more money off of it. But here's the beautiful thing about it. In a way, she's still working on that. Because with this evolution, with what this is now, meaning us speaking through her and being more in this therapeutic realm, this teaching realm, it's still bringing attention to the artwork. And as she starts to include it and weave it more together, she'll have more sales. And that's really what we're talking about, is being patient, allowing things to unfold, staying consistent, and just being open to the evolution of your passions, how they weave together, being open to the accomplishments you'd like to have and how you achieve them through consistency and through patience. Does that answer your question, Mark?
It definitely does. It's a fantastic subject. It's I think it's funny, the timing, because this week I just picked up a book all about this. I didn't even know this webinar was going to happen, and I focused once again for the first time in months on consistency, like you were saying at the beginning. Like I'm one of those people who I pick up the book, say this is amazing, write out the plan for my life. 3 days later, the whole thing's in the bin, and then I would repeat this over and over again until I got so sick of it that I just realized, okay, this isn't working. And I just kind of gave up. And when I finally just was introduced to this idea last week of just getting rid of the goals, getting rid of the pressure, and just literally building consistency. And I was like, oh God, I'll try this. And this is working really well for me. It's funny now how I'm on a webinar tonight talking to you about this, because it's such a deeply passionate subject for me, getting it right, you know? Like I sometimes get so frustrated because I think, okay, as you understand, like we've talked before, and you know that I'm an energy healer, and I also do channeling as well. And I just think, when I think of dedication, I think like I should be channeling all the time. I should be all the time on the internet, contacting people. I should be doing energy healing everywhere. I should be talking about it, thinking about it, sleeping it, reading it. I should be doing everything about it. But I'm not. I'm sitting in the corner watching a movie, or I'm talking to someone else about how bad my life is. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Like, so when I think about someone who's passionate, like I think of Mozart. I think of like someone writing classics that endure for hundreds of years. Like you were saying, if people lived 1,000 years, Mozart would probably still be alive. So he'd still be reaping the rewards of all that work he did hundreds of years ago. So it's a beautiful analogy to use that. I like that. That's really helping me to look at that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. there's a lot to what you're doing. There's a lot to energy work, and there's a lot to channeling, isn't there? And when that becomes your way of life, then it's not just, hey, Keith can, oh, never mind. We have a charger right here. Hang on 1 second. We have to plug in this phone.
I got you. You keep doing what you're doing. I'll get you plugged in.
So what we're saying is that when your passion is like yours and like Angel's, you're literally living your passion. Yeah. So it's a little more complex, because it's not just, oh, this is an interest I have. This is who I am. So you've got a few things going on with that, because to be a powerful energy healer, you have to cultivate energy. To cultivate energy, you need to do a few different things. One of which is you have to really pay attention to your own emotional state of being consistently. So you can't really ignore your down times, your up times, your thoughts. You can't say they don't matter, because they're actually a part. All of that is a part of you being consistent with your passion. That's the unique thing about what you're doing, Mark. It's the unique thing about what Angel's doing too. And on different levels, this is true for anyone and anything they're doing. But specifically, when you choose to be in the realm of the healing arts, and when you're channeling divine intelligence, you are required to keep up with yourself. You are required to use the same consistency with your own growth in order to be successful in your passion endeavor, your wealth endeavor, whatever you want to call that, because it's all tied together. Making money, your health, and your passion in that regard are all tied together. And like we said, they're really all tied together no matter what your area of passion is. But when you're in the healing arts, even more so. So you can't say, I'm an energy healer, and go out 3 nights a week and party and not spend time cultivating your energy or paying attention to your emotions. If you try to do that, you will fizzle out and become a really shitty energy healer. No one will want to come to you because you won't be effective. So you have to consider that the consistency required for what you're doing is all-encompassing. And you really need to apply the idea of the 1,000 years, because you're talking about achieving a state of mastery that will more and more become congruent with the divine energy that you're in contact with, that you're channeling. That takes a lot of work. You can't be lazy and in your guard on that, can you? So try to think of it in that way. When you feel yourself complaining about your life, instead of saying, I'm complaining about my life again, think of it in terms of, okay, this is something that needs tended to emotionally for me, so that I can make more space inside me. Or, you know, Angel, for example, if she feels a weakness in some area, then we say you need to practice some more Qigong while you work on that emotional component. You need to build your Qi so that we can more effectively use your body. And that's really what's happening when you choose this way of life that you've chosen. So it ups the ante for you. Because in our opinion, you guys, we're speaking broadly, we're not just speaking to you on this. Regarding energy healers, we feel very strongly about this. You guys shouldn't even say you're energy healers unless you are cultivating strong energy. Because it takes a lot of energy to transform other people's dysfunctions, doesn't it? So if you're not cultivating energy, you cannot call yourself an energy healer. Period. That's how we feel about it. So this is a very, you're in for the long haul kind of thing. You're in for a constant evolution. And you've got to be patient with yourself in that regard, because there is no top, there is no cap. It just improves and improves and improves. You see? And ultimately, this is really the best way to think about anything that you want to accomplish, is to keep your mind and heart open to consistent improvement. And to realize whatever it is that you're wanting to accomplish is only the first level of improvement. And so it gets you in a different mindset to where it's not like, okay, I did that now. That it's more of, okay, I got to experience that first level of improvement, and that was really cool. The next level of improvement is this. And now I'm heading toward that. And it keeps you guys in a state of growth in your mind. You know, mindset is so much. Mindset is so important for your experiences. You know, with our students, what we spend a lot of time doing is teaching them how to think better. Because if you guys don't know how to play with perspective, if you don't know how to use your imagination to create new perspectives, to find a new platform, then you're going to be very limited. And the idea of the 1,000 years, that's just playing with a perspective. That's going, okay, yeah, what if I did live 1,000 years? If I lived 1,000 years, how does that change my thoughts about everything? And if that changes my thoughts, just in the imaginative scenario that I'm going to live 1,000 years, then how can I apply that? Because if all I had to do was imagine it, and I felt something from that, I felt my own perspective change, I felt my patience deepen, I felt my tolerance deepen, then I can apply that to anything. And if I'm not applying it after making that realization, then I'm just lazy. Okay? And that's, it sounds really easy when we say it, but we are continually amazed at how difficult it is for human beings to become diligent with creating new perspectives to play within. And it is really the king prisoner about your lives, is the inability to use your imaginations to find new perspectives. And within those new perspectives, start to feel how you feel different within those, and basically copy and paste. Oh, I feel that way within that perspective. I'm going to use that. I can make a new tool with that. And that's what we spend a lot of time teaching our students how to do, is when you get into these imaginative places, spend time there. Spend time practicing what it feels like to be patient because you live 1,000 years. Because what happens, the way that you guys are created, the more you practice emotional states, the more you create a different toolbox for yourself. Okay? So it's like, for the most part, in our observation, most human beings have a toolbox of pain. There's all kinds of stuff in the pain toolbox. But there's almost nothing in the joy toolbox. most human beings' ability and capacity for joy is very tiny. Their ability to hold states of patience or love or tolerance or giddiness or happiness are small and short-lived. Their ability to hold pain, sadness, anger, frustration, big. Able to hold those states for long periods of time. And it's really interesting because the more negative states aren't as fun, but they're the most practiced. And so if you want to start experiencing life on the other end of the spectrum, you have to practice those emotional states. And when your life is not giving you what you want to feel those states, you have to engage your imagination. You cannot always rely upon your life in exactly the way it is to deliver joy and happiness to you. You have to use your imagination. It is a gift. It is a divine gift, your imagination, and it is being highly underutilized. And once you imagine these states of being, whatever these new perspectives are, whatever you're experiencing in these new perspectives, when you feel yourself emotionally connect to whatever this new perspective is, keep it, hold it, see how long you can hold it and start stretching it. So with our students, we'll take them through an exercise, kind of like we did you guys, about the 1,000 years. And we'll say, now, feel that patience that you feel in that state, feel that calm. We want you to imagine this scenario every day for the next 7 days and hold it for at first 5 minutes and then 10 minutes and just see how much you can begin stretching it. You see? And what happens when you are constantly interacting with yourself in this way is, before you know it, with diligent practice, with consistency, you've started creating new tools. Because see, those emotions are antidotes to those negative emotions. And when you create them, you create a specific database or library within yourself that you can use. It can help you neutralize the negative emotions, and it can help you move yourself more predominantly into the library of more enjoyable emotions. Not by avoiding negative emotions, but by practicing and growing the emotions that you enjoy through your ability to explore your imagination and develop new perspectives to interact in. This is really profound stuff, guys. And it only is any good if you apply it. We have some students on this call, and we would like one of them to hop on and talk about this. Perhaps you, Louise, we know you practice it a lot. Are you listening?
I am. But is my video on? I have really bad Wi-Fi at my mom's house, but okay. Yeah, so the homework assignment of practicing those states of being, yeah, we've been given a lot of those homework assignments. So I know, yeah, they've been just tremendous for me. For example, I think, you know, one of mine was just focused on fear of the future as it relates to money and stability and career path. So I would set a time for 10 minutes every day, as you suggested, and I would set the alarm on my phone and would lie in bed and would simply feel through my heart space, through that emotional area within my heart that is to everything, and would feel a depth of appreciation think that's actually the one it was. It was deep appreciation for everything I've been doing in this career path to earn some money. And so I would just feel the appreciation as strongly as I could. And with it then came gratitude and joy and some excitement. And I would sit in that emotional state. And then when the timer was up, I would go about the rest of my day. And I continued to do this every single day. And then I even had a great idea for me, because I use the voice memo on my phone a lot. I recorded myself simply emitting the energy of appreciation. So it was silent, but I was sending the energy through the phone on my voice memo. And then I would find myself playing that throughout the day and being able to feel the energy of just this state of appreciation and calm. So it's really been a beautiful process for me to learn how to find a state of emotion that is a joy-based state, and then learn to immerse myself in it for periods of time every day. So thank you, Geschichte, for that great wisdom.
Yeah, well, thank you for practicing it, because you really have experienced how by practicing what we've said, it actually does create a whole new library. And it does create an ability to access that library when you need it the most. And that is very important for you guys, because so much of the time you feel just, you guys get into these despair kind of things, downward spirals. And if you had more in this other toolbox that we're talking about, it would be so much easier to pull yourself out of that. Okay. Eileen wants to know, when you record your voice, are you recording affirmations or something different, Louise?
Actually, Eileen, I am simply recording the energy that I am emitting. So I will put myself into a state, just a quiet meditative state, and I move into my heart space and I simply feel deep gratitude, radiant joy, calm, appreciation as I'm thinking about my financial career path. And in essence, what I'm recording is my own energetic vibration of the state of being in gratitude and appreciation. So it's just my energy then is on my phone, and I'll record it for 10 minutes, and then I can play it back. And so what I'm doing is at any point in the day, I can play my own energy that is now being emitted through the phone. So it's no words, it's just the energy from me. So, Geschichte, maybe you can explain that better than I can.
Yeah, we can add to it. Well, Louise has been our student for 3 years, and she's a very diligent student. And one of the things that we teach our students is, well, first of all, they're assigned a certain amount of Qigong that they have to do every single day. And as they study with us longer and longer, that amount of Qigong gets increased and increased. So the amount of Qi that they're building is truly being stored in their energetic field and in their body. So when she is saying she creates states within herself and she records them through emission, it's because she's really learned how to create those states, and she's learned how to use all of that energy that she's builded to emit, okay, so to send it out. And that really is necessary to record your energy. You can't be weak and have the same effects with that. We're just going to be straightforward with you guys about that. So you can, for those of you that know the Qigong, just get on it. You need to be practicing at least an hour a day if you want to do anything with your energy. And as you start building that energy, you'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to feel how you can emit it, how you can ascend it quite easily, in fact, and how you can create certain emotional states and put all that energy behind those emotional states to share it. And what happens is it gets carried on sound waves, okay? That's how she's able to record it on her phone, and how it's able to emit back to her is that it's through the sound waves. Do you guys understand that? Very good. Yeah?
Can you explain how she's sending it on sound waves when she's not making any noise with her mouth?
Well, that's a little harder to do. Keith wants us to explain how she sends it on sound waves without it making any sound. There is always sound, okay? So Eileen knows what we're saying, but maybe the rest don't. Even though you guys can't hear everything, there is always sound. And when you learn how to emit in a certain way, it will attach to the waves, okay? And there is a certain kind of hum and hiss that comes through technology that can carry emotional frequencies, which is interesting to think about. We won't go deeply into that, but we'll just let you guys think about that. And don't you want to be more in charge of the hiss? Yeah. So we want to kind of talk to you real quickly about how all of this correlates to being able to be free from the fear of what other people think of you, okay? Because, oh good, Keith, we're glad you liked it. Because we notice that a lot of the reason you guys don't accomplish things is because you let yourselves get really involved emotionally and mentally with at least your perception of other people's opinion of you, or the opinion of you that has been given to you. That's not just your perception, that's their perception, but there's both going on. Do you understand that? There is what you consider to be someone's perception, and then there is that actual perception, and they're not always the same. But both of them often affect you guys so deeply that you will not stay consistent with something. You'll allow it to impact you so much that you will not stay consistent with your own desires out of fear for having to deal with it over and over again. Do you guys relate to that? Yeah. So what we have told Angel in this regard is, because down here in the South, in the United States, there's a lot of biblical zealotry going on. And she feels a lot of that perception. And a lot of it is actual perception of the people. Some of it is her own projection, but a lot of it really is, how dare you? You're possessed by evil spirits, blah, 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 blah. And that was really debilitating for her in the beginning, especially because she was going through the divorce and it was being used against her as well, against her getting her child. Now, the best thing that we can tell you guys is that no matter what the other perceptions are, they don't understand you. The only one who really understands you is you. And if there is something that you feel passionately about accomplishing, you must put that as number one. You must invest yourself into that far more then you invest yourself into other people's opinions. We're not saying that you're going to be unaffected by other people's opinions, because that is a journey in and of itself. And in fact, it is a journey that unfolds as you take our other advice regarding consistency. Because something starts to happen to those people's opinions once they start seeing you being consistent. Because what happens when you're consistent? You build your energy in that area, okay? You build your confidence in that area. You start to make a very strong statement just with your presence. And it starts to be harder and harder and harder for anyone to criticize it with power, okay? And that's the way any movement of truth occurs. In the beginning, a movement of truth is ridiculed. But after the movement of truth is consistent, it starts to have a lot more power than everything else. And after a certain amount of time, it becomes accepted. Okay? But the stages of truth are similar to the stages of accomplishment. And the only one that has power in that regard is you. So if you want the stages of accomplishment to become stronger and stronger and stronger, and you want the opinions and perspectives of others to become weaker and weaker, you have to do the work to make that strong. You have to really cultivate your belief in you. And as you cultivate your belief in you, you will be affecting other people's belief in you. And even those who might not agree with you, they'll drop off. They won't really say much anymore. Because they'll see, okay, obviously my opinion doesn't have any room here. They'll feel it. My opinion doesn't have room here. Because it doesn't. Opinions only have room if you give them room. So you've got to learn how to take up more space than the opinions. Okay? You've got to learn how to allow your accomplishments unfolding to take up more space than the opinions. And that takes a certain amount of focus. It takes diligence, again, it takes consistency. It takes you being in a place of observing what's working and what's not working, and keeping your eye on the ball, keeping your eye on the prize, so to speak. And we're not saying don't listen to input. You can listen to input, but you have the ability to hear input and throw it away, or hear input and apply it. None of it has to really be a statement about your character or otherwise. You see? It doesn't have to be taken so personally. But we promise you guys this, when you come to the end of your lives, you don't give any shits about what people thought about you. What you care the most about is that you are true to yourself and you loved others with the most effortlessness as possible. And what we're talking to you about today is about how to love others more effortlessly. Because when you're not constantly thinking about what other people think of you, you are much more able to purely love them. And if you can really keep your heart as clean as possible, and your mantra more like, it doesn't matter what you think of me, I'm going to practice loving and accepting you. That is such a clean place to come from. That's where we come from. Now, at the same time, we have such a strong energy that, and a confident energy, that those who try to come into our field and be disrespectful quickly leave. They don't stick. And anyone who has studied with us for prolonged periods of time has seen this occur almost magically. And that is what we're coaching you guys into. When you can create so much strength in who you are, so much confidence in who you are. You won't be affected so much by these other opinions. And it's not because you don't care about them necessarily. It's just that if it is anywhere near disrespect, there is no room for it in your field. And ultimately, what you guys are the most injured by is disrespect. But as you become more powerful, that won't even come in your field because you just won't allow it. And there's no aggression or force behind it. It just can't exist within a confident field. Okay? So that's what we want to say for today regarding the art of accomplishment. We do feel that that is a lot. Did you guys enjoy it? Good. Now we are starting a new introductory class, guys. We've talked a lot about what we teach our students today. Because if you are enjoying our teaching, you might want to consider actually doing class with us, okay? Because we are excellent at helping you guys become your best. We do help you become your best. So our new introductory class will begin on June 22nd. Angel has made the early bird cutoff June 8th. It is a 6-week course. You will meet once a week with us for 2 to 3 hours. The normal cost is $1,000, but the early bird special is $800. This is a remarkable price, guys, because hourly with us and Angel, it's $200. So that's the equivalent of 4 hours. But you're going to be getting more like 18 hours, okay? So consider it. Reach out to her if you want to do it. We would love to see any and all of you. We'd love to work with all of you. Do you have any questions about what we've spoken of today? No questions? Okay. Well, we've enjoyed it. It was recorded, so Angel will send it to all of you. And we would say listen to it a couple more times. Really get these ideas in your mind and challenge yourself to play with them. Write them down even. Read them daily. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Hey, everyone. All right. Well, that was that for the day. Let me know if any of you want to be in the introductory class starting on June 22nd. You're welcome to contact me through Facebook or Gmail, whatever. All right. Thanks, guys.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Thank you, Angelique. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Angel.
You're welcome, Eileen.